What's up, everyone? Welcome to Gatekeeper Media's In the Mix with Parked podcast. My name is Mitch Phillips. Joining me is Hayden Ricard with the third stop of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We're going to break it all down here at the Texas State Disc Golf Championships in Tyler, Texas. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I mean, I enjoyed every bit of it, and we're at a new course, the Thorn.
The Thorn is a new course to everyone. The Texas State Championships tend to change locations, but this year we were at what used to be the Dogwood course.
Yes.
Last year, they took 4 holes from that course and made a completely new one with 14 new holes.
It was a great combination to see of other two courses. I mean, melding two courses together that were fantastic before. And, I mean, we had warm weather.
Finally.
That was I think the pinnacle of the whole weekend. It was just the warm weather that we finally got.
Yeah, we didn't have mittens. I think we talked about it in last week's podcast and also at in Vegas. It's like if you had mittens, you knew the cold weather was coming.
So
you were prepared. Cold. But if you had gloves, you had no idea. But man, dude, it's so good to be able to see the players actually enjoy being out in the course. Waco was freaking miserable.
It was just windy and wind and just terrible. I mean, people played great in those conditions, but everybody likes to see a sunshine here and there and play. That's what we most enjoy, is when it's just fun to go out and not brutal.
Yeah, enjoying disc golf is usually the goal here. But yes, this course brought so many things. I mean, to have 14 new holes, this was not one that, hey, players have played for years and years and years and years. You can't come in and say, I've had the same sponsorship for so many years, and I know this course. I throw this shot here, this shot here. It was completely new. What are some things maybe you saw that were surprising, and maybe some players had different ways of warming up for it?
Definitely different with the practice rounds, at least from what I saw that were on videos. There was a lot more wind before the tournament actually started, which I think would have clearly helped them decide, okay, what lines to take. Am I going over the top, or if I'm going backhand, am I going forehand? There was a lot of forehand play in the MPO field that I saw. Then I would think you would mainly do on other courses, just because of the way that it sets you up for that second shot. Yeah. And that was key out here. It was definitely on those long par fours, setting you up for that second shot.
Yeah, and there was some extremely long par fours. We had nearly
900 feet.
Yeah, hole 4 for the MPO field, played the hardest hole the entire weekend. I mean, it's what, 980 feet?
It's 888.
Yeah, just 880. Here we go. Yeah, we got the stats up here.
It's elevation-wise, it probably plays 900.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. Tight hallways the entire way. So, I mean...
And low ceilings.
Yes, across the board, low ceilings. And you saw some of the players. I mean, the Calvin Heinbergs, these Greg Barsby, Joel Freeman, some of these players, James Conrad at the top as well, that are known to throw these low-driven torque-style shots. Even Emerson Keith popping up.
Yes,
on the Texas swing was so fun. But before we get into everything and breaking it down, let's go to a segment that we call Run It Back with Idio Sports. You can head over to idiosports.com and get your first ever pair of disc golf history shoes designed for disc golf by disc golfers. But this week, we're going to run it back and back and back and back and back and back to Ricky Wysocki winning 6 out of 6 since 2013, 2014, 2017, 2019, 2021, and 2022.
Every time he's played, he has defended his title.
I don't know, this is off the cuff, but I don't think anyone in our sport has won the same tournament that many times.
I don't know yet. I'm sure Statmando has that somewhere on display for us to go dig into, but that is impressive, especially for an Elite Series win.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, not being an Elite Series all of those years, but in these past couple years. I mean, Ricky plays his best golf ever. He came in defending his title. And want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Statmando, over in the Discord. Disc Golf Doug had this incredible stat. The highest average rating for a tournament ever, like period, in the history of disc golf was Ricky's 2014 Texas States, where he averaged 1085.3 golf. And that was in 2014. Like, the ratings have gone higher.
Who was he with?
I have no idea. Who is he with?
I don't know.
I mean, you look back at... I mean,
I don't remember.
I can't either, but you answer the top of your head. 2014, there was like none
I was
of the
2 years out of high school.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
We weren't following it fully yet. But I mean, you look back and see that to play at that level, ratings obviously based on who you're with, who's at the tournament, the conditions.
I mean, I can think about who he was playing against back then.
Your Shoestricks, Macbeths.
Yes, and I mean, definitely the top of the line guys. But now you got these young kids in here shooting these high scores and just going back and forth of like who can win each weekend. And it's the same with the FPL. It's like it can change. Doesn't matter. Who cares? It comes out who's going to show up for that weekend. That's really it. And
we're going to, I mean, this is a special Run It Back here with Idio Sports. Again, back to back and back and back and back.
6.
And back. 6 times.
We'll come back to this next year.
One more time? Come back?
Yeah, just back, 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 back.
Back and back and back and back. Seriously, head over to idiosports.com. Get your pair of disc golf history. The shoes are incredible, waterproof. My favorite part of the shoe is the power plant where you're able to rotate and not lose control, but get a full just energy transfer into that last step. What's your favorite part of the shoe?
Probably just the grip.
Yeah.
Honestly, the overall grip. I don't lose anything. I can be in any kind of step. I can be in mud if I have to, and I'm not losing any grip.
Yeah, complete confidence with the Idio Sports Syncrasy. So again, head over to idiosports.com to get yourself a pair. Alrighty, let's get into the recap. We're just going to run down the leaderboard here, and then we're going to hit a good amount of highlights, some storylines across the board.
Yeah, just big storylines about some of the top players, and even some that made a show at this tournament that were able to be in the top 10, top places that normally aren't typically there.
Yeah, and I mean, let's run down the leaderboard, maybe top 5 or so. Ricky Wysocki taking it down at minus 29, just 1 stroke behind him. Calvin Heinberg at minus 28. Greg Barsby 3 strokes back from him at minus 25. Joel Freeman and James Conrad tied at minus 21 for 4th.
And Joel had a fantastic final round. He was 9 under.
Yes, matching Barsby as well for 9 under, but I mean, and that was with a bogey.
Yes, it was.
And we'll get into more about Joel later on, but I mean, the talk of this tournament is Ricky winning his first Elite Series event of 2022.
Yes, and he becomes the first Dynamic Disc sponsored MPO player to win an Elite Series event.
Which I didn't even know that was a thing until you told me that earlier.
I literally just looked it up and I was like, there's no way.
On the MPO side.
Yes, on the MPO side.
Right.
But that's huge.
I mean, you think of dynamic disc players in the past. I mean, you had Chris Clemens came close. He had some top 5 finishes. Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to the MPO side, I mean, you had Paige Pierce win world titles with dynamic discs. But on the MPO side, to have Ricky, what an honor to be able to represent your sponsor and to validate, hey, guess what, Dynamic Disc, putting the multi-million-dollar contract.
Putting the money where the mouth speaks, basically.
100%. I mean, that's incredible. And to quote Ricky from his post-round interview,
this was funny.
Raptor legs are back.
Yeah, it's definitely something on his mind that he is working on his putting. And I mean, you said he's talked about the results are not always the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just out there grinding, getting better as a player, getting better as a person, being more humble on the course, and then just going out there and grinding when he's the underdog. I mean, he was 2 strokes behind on the final day.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to call.
And Calvin's not going to let up. You know that.
Oh, no.
You're going to have to count on those mistakes and just play your golf the way you can. Count on those mistakes from the other car mates.
Yeah, and it's hard to count out and say he's, 2 strokes is insurmountable for the now and continually number 1 player in the world. I mean, he's always in a chance.
Yes.
But with this win, does take him back to the top. So, I mean, love to be able to just hear his thoughts, and we're going to have him hopefully on the podcast over at Parked Podcast soon to be able to just chat with him about the level of play that he's kept for so long, but still being the number 1 player in the world and keeping that in mind. Like, results are not always the goal.
I mean, do you think he thinks about it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he's definitely thinking about it. He's putting the time in, and he's trying to make effort across the board to remain at number 1. That's how you do it. You don't stay at number 1. You don't get to number 1.
No, you don't.
It's not, I achieved that. Now we're going to coast.
Yeah, you're not going to just, hey, all right, I made my goal. Ooh, okay. No.
Yeah.
I mean, no athlete is going to sit there and just like, all right, I made it. Cool. I'm retiring.
Yeah, done. Won the world title. Done. I mean, there's some sports where that can happen, but
but not something
here.
like this that's so progressive.
It is definitely just, we're in an incredible progressive time. Stats about Ricky: Raptor legs are back, like we said, 100% Circle 1X putting in the final round. I mean, you put the dagger
and
back in his hand.
100% scramble.
Yes. I mean, he's been known for scrambling.
Yeah.
Was it 20 when he won his first world championship in
Yes.
2017?
Yeah.
I mean, we were there
Everybody
in Georgia,
was scrambling.
and his scramble was insane.
It was impeccable.
And we'll get to Jeremy Colling in a bit, but scramble rating, watching Jeremy Colling on 2 rounds here at
That was
Gatekeeper
fun.
was...
I know he was getting mad that he had to, but it was a sight to see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're scrambling, you're a little bit off, but if you can keep that scramble rating high, you're making up for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, second place going to Calvin Heinberg, a player that is known for these low-driven torque shots. He had, I mean, over 90%
all that Florida
putting.
golf.
Yes.
It's growing up in Florida. You have low ceilings everywhere down there, and you're just playing these tight lines and just hitting them very purely. And
Yeah.
I mean, you're going out with aggression, but also at the same time, you're looking for landing spots. You're looking where can I take advantage here when, other players maybe you're like, all right, I'm going to just go for it.
Yeah. I think Calvin, I mean, he was the most consistent player last year.
He was leading first round, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Macbeth was leading first round.
Yeah, that's right. Macbeth was leading first round, and then Calvin came in through the second round.
Yeah.
And that's when Ricky was behind them.
Yes. So, I mean, I feel like everything about Calvin just almost goes unsaid because it's an expectation that he's
And I like
going
the
to be
short
at the
hair.
top. Oh, yeah. I think
Looks totally different.
you wouldn't recognize him.
No, nobody did. I don't think anybody did when he showed up to the course.
No, I love it.
But Calvin, I mean, consistency is the thing. He's going to be at the top for a long time, and I can't wait for him to shine and get another big win in his belt. I'm sure it's coming.
Oh, no doubt. Let's talk about Greg Barsby. I mean,
for the one who designed this course.
Yes, he had a huge part in designing this course here at the Thorn. I mean, maybe a little bit of that home cooking. Maybe,
I know how
he's
these.
doing.
Yeah, he's like, I made these fairways. I know how it goes.
I designed this. I thought this up. He walked up and said, I don't know if my forehand works here, my backhand works here. I like this. And he comes out and gets solo third.
Yeah, and he DNF'd at Waco.
Yeah.
Which that was unfortunate. I'm sure it was due to some maybe hurt parts of his body and just taking it, hey, look, we just started this thing. Let's not kill myself already.
Yeah, unsure of the reasoning behind the DNF. But, I mean, the 2018 World Championship, he found himself in a tie for fourth.
Dude, that was a fun spot to watch, is those guys just like, hey, I'm charging for fourth. I don't care.
Yep. And he ended up being able to get solo third.
Yes, he was.
And, I mean, Greg Barsby known for those, like, the long putts. He has that nose down straddle putt.
Look at his scorecard. Final round, bogey free.
Mm-hmm. The only player on the lead card to go bogey free, which is
fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I think he did an amazing job. He runs a ton of tournaments with the Barsby Battle Series. Yeah,
I believe
I think it's the
that's
Barsby Battles that he runs all over Texas. And I mean, being a Texas native, what an honor to be able to design a course, play in it. I mean, you think of Cale Leviska designing the preserve. He hasn't played it in the past couple of years, just being able to.
Played what, 20?
I think he played 2020.
2020?
Yeah.
He
didn't play last year.
Top 20. I think that's what he'd placed.
Right. And we think of also Dustin Keegan designing Portland and then being able to play on it. Do you think that's something that, we're going to see more and more players getting the chance to do?
I mean, Macbeth has already designed his own course, but it's not open to public and stuff like that. There's different things. And I feel like players are definitely going to want to give back to the community and build their own courses. And maybe they are elite series courses that they can build, but it takes a lot of effort to build a course. And it depends on how much you want to put into it. Of, okay, well, I'm going to tour, but also let's also manage this.
Right. And I think it's been talked about time and time again that Cale Leviska is kind of set the tone for what it looks like to do once you're done playing. Yeah. I mean, managing a course, running tournaments, doing this thing and creating a brand. And we've seen, I mean, let's talk about this for a second. You've seen Cale Leviska and really, I mean, Prodigy for the first time saying, hey, here's a disc that you designed and a disc that doesn't have a D, a P, or an A at the beginning of it or an F.
Pretty much.
I mean, to be able to see the foul core, the reverb, the distortion, I mean, from Kevin Jones and Cale Leviska, I mean, it's incredible to see.
It's been, I think, in the works. It should have just happened a long time ago. But
and that's at Prodigy specifically. But overall,
yeah.
Like players being able to say, I'm more than just
this
a player.
Yep.
Like I have a line of this. I have a brand. I have, I mean, not Greg Barsby, Drew Gibson. Yep. I mean, saying, here's an actual company that I'm starting, not just the Paul Macbeth line of Discraft.
Yeah, same with Nico.
Yeah.
Nico's doing the same thing with his apparel line, I think.
With Flight Club
and
everything. And I mean, it's neat to see players building a brand.
Well, you never got that in the past.
No, you
Nothing
didn't have
like that.
the money wasn't there. The following wasn't there with our sport growing. You got the Steph Curry shoes. You got, I mean, you have.
It's starting to slowly get to those points of like, hey, we're having signature things of these players that are elite players,
and more than just a signature disc.
Yes,
it's just a brand behind that. I mean, the Saki Bomb brand. I mean, you have. I mean, I want to say Ricky might be the only one who does this. Has the
he owns his own store.
His own store, but he has his own like line of monthly boxes. Like he has a subscription service of the Saki Bomb boxes that you get a disc, a hat, whatever it is, like a subscription box. I mean, that's a whole nother level.
Yes, it is
of your brand. But
I mean,
anyway.
Another level is Luke Humphreys.
Yes,
who has been putting on a show in these past tournaments, and
he came into this tournament number 1 in Disc Golf Pro Tour point standings,
and finally showing that he is human and not a robot.
Yeah, unfortunate. He did finish, I believe it was in the 30s, right around there, which is, I
don't actually remember.
Yeah, he was up there, but tied for 45th. So, I mean, unfortunate, but again, he had such a breakout early, so he's not finished.
And maybe this didn't play to his style of play, and I don't know. I never got to see him actually on card or anything, but every course is not made for everybody. You got to tweak how you play and transition into how you're going to attack it. So
yeah, which is the reason why we've come to love what the Disc Golf Pro Tour has done for our sport, because I mean, you look at even just the medium that you're on. The baskets change course to course. The ground play from sand to grass to dirt to to uphill to downhill.
Everything.
I mean, to be a Disc Golf Pro Tour champion, to even have the points to qualify to play in the championship, you have to play consistently. And, maybe there's going to be some tournaments where, Luke Humphreys isn't in the top. Yeah. I mean, we just had at Vegas?
I think it shows great confidence in what he's changing and how he's going to be more consistent throughout the season.
Yeah. Getting hot early is amazing, but being able to continue it through is another thing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what I've been extremely excited about. If you haven't checked out on Gatekeeper Media's channel, Hayden and I had the opportunity to commentate on, it was like 400 something holes of disc golf or something.
It was a lot.
It was insane. Over about a month and a half. It was incredible. An inside look into Finnish disc golf, the Prodigy Disc Pro Tour. My favorite and most exciting player to watch. One of them, I have a lot of them. Nicolas Antala. Young, just absolute firecracker of a player, consistent, doesn't throw the furthest, but has such a well-rounded game. He started out, he made it onto Chase Card, his first event in the Disc Golf Pro Tour in America. Gosh.
He's the top in this event. He's the top finishing European player in this tournament, and it was his first event here in America.
And we've heard every single, I feel like on the European player side, Finnish, Estonian, whatever, coming into these press conferences and saying, it's going to take me a couple of weeks. It's going to take me, getting used to these courses. We've talked about it here on this podcast.
What was his place? He was top 15?
Right around there.
He was close.
He dropped it. Yeah, exactly. 15.
Tied 15th.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I was looking at it.
We spend a lot of time.
I was looking at it earlier. Top 15. And it's his first tournament. I know there were some woes in this putting and stuff, which we're typically not seeing when he's over back home and playing
he said in the press conference
his
putting is his strongest thing.
It is.
And there was some definitely just kind of questionable.
I think it's nerves.
Yeah,
especially it's first tournament. Come on, give him a break.
First tournament and on coverage. We've seen feature cards and stuff.
Finishing at tied 15th.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No.
For first tournament over here.
Not at all. Solid.
When you have not
money.
been over here in the first two and you're not used to this kind of play, it's a little different style. Who knows? I think he's going to do some big things.
Right. He's going to be doing huge things because I think he's one of 3 players that is doing the most tournaments here on Disc Golf Pro Tour. He'll be going back for the European Championships to defend his title.
Yes.
He's the European champion coming here, and he's a smaller stature guy. When you see him next to a big germ,
he's small.
He's not a large mammal, at all.
No, it's not.
But the level of play out of him, I think the thing that shocked everyone the most, we've seen it, we watched it for so many rounds, was he had so much touch with that backhand. Germ was shocked.
The people just are in awe of how he's able to manipulate that disc and go and shoot these lines that you're like, okay, I'm probably not going to do that, but he did.
Yeah. I'll throw a forehand. He's throwing this incredibly shaped backhand and shocking other players on his card.
It's just, it's a wonderful thing to see. And you can see it in the videos of Gatekeeper Media that we shot a couple months ago. They're on there, and he is on the card, I think, pretty much every time.
Yeah, and he won. He's from Kuopio, Finland. He won the Kuopio stop in the Prodigy Disc Pro Tour, which is, I mean, to win your home event.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
mean, Hayden and I are huge Formula One fans. I mean, it's like Daniel Ricciardo winning Australia. I mean, it's special.
It's a big thing. It's very special. And
Daniel Ricciardo not winning. If that happens in a couple weeks, we won't be here because we're going to be celebrating, but McLaren's struggling.
Yeah, but
back to disc golf.
Talking about someone special is Paul Macbeth. He is special in the disc golf.
And special in our hearts.
Who can not? I mean, the dude has been #1 for so many years, has done so many great things for the community of disc golf, and he's came into this tournament in the past 3 tournaments, first, and second.
Mm-hmm. And those are his first 3 out of the year.
To start this season.
Those being Vegas, Memorial, Belton.
Yeah.
Like, I mean.
And won his only Elite Series tournament start so far for Waco.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, he wasn't at Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Waco being that one.
And, I mean, look at the ratings that are in there.
First 3 tournaments. Memorial, 1074 average. Waco, 1059 average. Belton, 1054 average. His opening round here at Texas State was 1086, which is his second best round after his 1108. That is 4 digits, 1,108. They stay in 4 digits, but to see the 1-1 instead of the 1-0, that doesn't happen much.
It was insane, and this was the strongest start to his season since 2012 when he averaged 1064 golf through the first tournament.
2012 was his first world championship, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Ho, 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 ho.
And Macbeth was on a heater that year.
Yes.
And it looks like he's on it this year as well. I mean, he had some lulls last year, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you know, at the end, he was able to win USDGC. That was a great win for him. Fantastic thing to witness in person.
But coming back to this tournament,
he was first round, perfect.
First round, 12 down, was it?
Yes, I believe that is correct.
Let's check it real quick. Round 1, he was, 12 under par. I believe that was the hot round of the weekend.
Yes, but going into Saturday, it was a day of misses, tree kicks, circle 2 putts misses, and you could tell it. It was frustrating the heck out of him, and then he went on a drought of pars and bogeys until hole 14.
Yes, birdieing hole 1, and then from 2 to 14, +3, which is like, I
think it's unheard of, but
for him,
you get in a lull in your head, and that's probably, I don't know what actually happened. I'd love to know. Pick his brain maybe one of these days and figure out what happened. But it's just momentum. You get into it. Everybody happens. It happens to everybody is what I meant to say there. And then it totals on top of itself.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, look, just get me out of the day. Let's go home, reconnect, finish the tournament tomorrow.
Yeah. And I mean, again, his best start since 2012. Paul Macbeth, the beast is here. The beast is back, as we said.
He's not going anywhere.
No, not at all. Someone who is back, Jeremy Colling.
I loved it.
I mean,
excited to see him up there. I mean, everybody knows him on Joe Miz Pro coverage. It's been a couple years since he's been on Elite Series top 10 scorecard.
And 6th at Texas State is his best finish since United States Disc Golf Championships in 2019.
That's awesome.
I think his putting was definitely what helped him, but we've already talked about it again. His scrambling
his
approach
game was impeccable.
Yeah, AVR X3 every time he could.
Yes.
And I mean, the way in which he's been known for this for so many years, the way he works a forehand. But he had, not a ton of birdie opportunities. I mean, compared to a lot of the other players in this top 10, but he did, he tallied, like I said, here's a stat, tallying 19 birdies on his 26 greens in regulation. So the putting was in.
It was there for sure. I mean, he made some big putts when it needed to. And there were some unfortunate errors. I mean, on the final round of 18, I mean, he got skipped OB. And that's just that course.
And even then, he made the putt coming back.
Yes, he did.
He finished, of the 54 holes played the entire weekend, 1 hole over par. 1. I don't know if there was anyone else in the field that did that. I'm going to say no.
Probably not.
Well done, sir. But
you got to give yourself a pat on the back and go drink some beers or something.
Enjoy that one. Go play some FIFA with Linus Carlson. Get your butt kicked.
It was so much fun to watch him on. We got him for second round and final round.
Yeah, it was on Gatekeeper here. Incredible. Well, that about wraps it up here for the MPO. Let's go into the FPO. Very different storylines.
It was. They had a mix of shorter tee pads, but also the same tee pads. The par fours, the long par fours for the men were par fives.
Yeah,
made it a lot easier for them. So very equable throws.
Yeah, and
for these longer throwers that we have on top card.
Yeah, let's take it back to what we had talked about already with Nicolas Antala and being able to watch so much finish disc golf. Every tournament of those four that we got to commentate and watch, the men and women played the same tee pads.
Yes.
Same pars, same tee pads. So obviously there was a big scoring gap just because of just the distances and everything.
It made it harder for them.
Right, which is, I think, it's
challenging them to... I'm not necessarily saying trying to compete with the men. They're competing with themselves, but...
There's a consistency of scoring that you can see.
Exactly. And
everybody's on the same playing field, but then you come into a place like this where I think it was a little bit too changed. You had hole 11 and hole 16 that were par fours under 500 feet.
Yeah.
Paige Pierce can throw close to 500 feet consistently.
Yeah, but what does the rest of the field can?
I mean,
what's the average of the rest of the field
if you're winning the tournament?
I know that, but I mean, you got to be open to who you've got coming into that tournament. I think, at least, if you're running a tournament like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes back to when you're trying to raise the level of game in the FPO field.
You want to make it challenging. You don't want to make it too easy.
Right. I think also, hey, seeing some eagles happen, and I believe there was 6 or 7 across the weekend. I mean, it's good to see. It's awesome to see.
I think they change it next year for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
with how many you saw.
Right. Hole 17, par 5, 780 feet, completely eagles. We had players having drop-in eagles or even going long.
I mean, this is the same thing with the MPO.
Yeah.
I mean, you go 3 years back to some of these tournaments, these huge tournaments, and they changed it up to where, hey, that score is dropped in half.
Right, and that's the level of play changing.
Yes.
Here's a little bit
it's
of a different
the same.
story,
I mean, the level of play is still here. I mean, we had last year, how many women win different tournaments?
Yeah, it was like 7 different women out of like 11 tournaments or something.
So, I mean, clearly they've done a lot in change of, hey, look, competitiveness is here. No one is just single-handedly winning the next. They're not elite.
Yeah, but if someone is doing that, it's Paige Pierce, and she took this one down.
Yes, she did.
In an incredible fashion, birdieing the last 4 straight holes to win by 4.
She just had to play clean. Everybody else made some mistakes on hole 18.
Hole 18 was crazy.
And I didn't think there was that much wind when we watched the footage of it coming left to right. I didn't think there was.
No, going into hole 18, final round, we'll just jump right into this. Paige Pierce at -16, Kristin Tatar at -15, Katrina at -14. On a hole that was playing extremely difficult throughout the weekend. It's a par 5. I believe it's 685, right around there.
Yes.
And
they're on the same tee pad as the men's.
Exactly. And Kristin goes out of bounds straight into the ball fields.
Well, she gets a bad kick off the light pole.
Right.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah. Then Cat goes OB on the road.
Yes.
Paige skips off the road and just stays safe.
Yep.
All of a sudden,
it was a smash too.
Oh, it was huge. I think it was the longest shot there.
I think she just absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, and then Kristin again goes out of bounds on the road
with a bad kick again.
It's just so unfortunate on the last hole out of every moment that it could happen. And then Paige just has a drop-in birdie. It wins by 4. Cat gets. I mean,
honestly,
Kristin
where she
bogey.
was, I mean, she could have eagled it if it was a different round.
Yeah, well, she laid up.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if she could have eagled it if she wanted to.
Yeah, totally had a chance at it.
She was that far down there.
So run down the leaderboard here. Paige Pierce takes home the win at -17. Kristin Tatar and Katrina Allen at -13. Valerie Mandujano making moves
silent moves. I mean, 1 bogey on the final round, a couple birdies here and there, keeping her back up, clean front half of or back half of the round.
Yeah, the final one there. And I mean, let's talk about some storylines here. One that we don't have written down here on our sheet, but I want to talk about Missy Gannon finally cracking into the top 10 for the first time. I believe the first time this season. She's had some difficulty just kind of getting back on the horse, it seems. I mean, after winning Throw Pink Women's Championship and the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship last year, we had high hopes of Missy Gannon coming into this, and it's been kind of
and maybe she doesn't like this Western swing that we're getting towards. I know we got one event next week that's on the East Coast, but I mean, maybe that's just not her play style. We'll find out as we move into the next ones. But
either way, good to see her back in the tops.
Yes, it is. And then Ons Goggins, Henna Blumrose. I mean, tons of top names. And Henna Blumrose, what a back nine.
Yeah.
I mean, birdie, 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 par, par, birdie, the last three.
I mean, yeah, the battle was incredible. She came into the final round at even.
Yes.
Total score and shoots -6 on the final day to be able to jump.
Yeah, in the
6
7th
spots
place.
into 7th place. I mean,
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, while we're talking about the Finns, just questionable. Evelina Salonen down in 27th, finishing at +8. Just
it's her putting.
It's got to be the putting, the confidence in it, and I mean, which is crazy because she's such an incredible putter. She is. But I think it goes to show. I mean, they talked about it in the press conference. Finnish players.
She told us about it.
Yeah, Finnish players not used to playing in the wind.
Yeah.
And what do we have in Vegas and in Texas?
A lot of wind.
Which makes me hope that by the time we get to World Championships, being in Kansas, I'm just going to say it, windiest.
It's probably going to happen. It's always windy there.
Will the European players be ready for it? On the FPO and MPO side, that's been something that has been said. Nicolas Antala, we talked about him already.
We've had people comment on the videos and everything that we're doing for commentary for Gatekeeper, and they're like, they're not used to elevation, they're not used to wind.
Yeah, I mean, Finland, not even like a ton of mountains. Almost everything's at sea level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have some that are some undulating
rolling hills and stuff,
but nothing that you're used to having wind ripping. So very confusing and just surprising to see Evelina after 2 great finishes to start it off. 3, yeah. I mean, the 3 tournaments she's played.
It was huge, but I mean, talk about this next point that is, I think, just massive.
Paige Pierce wins her 30th Disc Golf Pro Tour event. 3-0. It's also her 62nd career Elite Series victory, but to have
62,
that is 6-2, one more than 61. I don't even know, like, I haven't even played 62 tournaments over, I mean, the amount of years we've been playing. That's
I don't think I have either.
This is not our full-time job.
No,
but I mean,
still,
dude, that's,
and I've been playing for 10 years.
Yeah, me as well. 30 wins of Disc Golf Pro Tour events over. I mean, Disc Golf Pro Tour has been around for, was this 5th year? Right around there, maybe a little bit less.
I don't want to say because I don't actually know.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but 30. I mean, we saw her win last year multiple events. So, I mean,
huge for her. Go celebrate. That was awesome to see her do that, and
to do it in the fashion she did.
It was an easy win. I mean, she
on the last hole was
on the last hole, but I mean that's what it came down to. Is just playing her game, and it was fantastic. And I mean, the last 15 through 18 birdies.
Mm-hmm. I mean, awesome. On hole 14. She was at, I mean, it was a 3-way tie.
Yep, it was.
On hole 14.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at what happened in the next 4 holes. She goes straight birdies. I mean, Tatar able to pick up and Katrina both able to pick up the eagle on 17, those softer, par 5s.
Still didn't really help them much.
No, because they both took big numbers on the last. But I mean, Paige
Congrats,
Pierce,
Paige.
Congratulations, 30 Disc Golf Pro Tour wins.
And Kat, I mean, coming in third, a little bit.
Tying for second.
Yes, tying for second. I mean, she was showing consistency, confidence. Her putting, I mean, from distance, jump putt.
If there's anything that Katrina Allen struggled with over the last couple of years, it's been putting.
And it was the consistent putting.
And, I mean, she going from Prodigy to DGA. Prodigy putters known not to have a lot of glide, known to be very flat-topped. And you look at what she's putting with now at DGA, I believe she's putting steadies, which is...
I don't know exactly.
I believe that's what it is. And so, I mean, she's getting a lot more glide, a lot of difference. I mean, she's changed up her reach back. Consistency out of the gate with a brand new bag.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's got 2 wins so far this season and a 1-stroke victory over Paige.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean... that alone is saying, hey, I'm here, even though I changed manufacturers, but I ain't going nowhere.
Yep. Same person, different discs.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yep. Let's talk about Kristin Tatar. I mean, she hasn't had a trophy yet this season that is in the gold color, but has been consistently on the hunt.
Oh, no doubt. And we knew this was coming in to when she was being able to come back over here, play more events, being able to do what she can. And I know she's going to take down some more events as they come on. She just needs a little kick maybe. I mean, being able to tie second, I mean, that's great.
She's finishing it out, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's at the top. She's led rounds before, gone into rounds
I mean, we know she can do it.
Right.
She's done it in the past. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what she can bring and just be amazing. I don't know. It's just, there's things that she does that's just completely different from these ladies over
shocking.
here.
It's the same way we talked about in the men's. I mean, it's a different style of play.
It is.
And it's changing the way our game looks.
Yeah.
Look at other sports and the way, look at the biggest sport there is and the biggest sporting event, the World Cup. You look at the different styles of play and how they match up, the way that Italy plays, the way that the French play, the way that America plays. Like, you're doing the same thing, but it becomes a different style. And obviously our sport becomes, hey, maybe it's not spikeizers. It's now matching the ground with these, approaches. So you're avoiding skips. Like, it's these small intentional little things, because at the end of the day, our sport still has the word golf in it.
Yeah.
You're playing calculated, and it's a different style. So it's awesome to be able to see so many different play styles. And you still see Paige and Kat at the top, which has been something going on for 10 plus years. But let's talk about some other people as we move through this. Maria Oliva, great showing.
Her putt was fantastic.
I've never been able to watch her before. And
it wasn't being able to, some of it was just missed opportunity of connecting, but it was a great putting stroke that she had.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of Missy Gannon in the fact of, like, it's direct, it's a spin putt, and she has some power, dude.
Dude, she was throwing Calvin destroyers on hole 18.
Most people, a Calvin destroyer, as in the Halo destroyer, is one of, if not the most overstable disc in their bag, MPO or FPO. And she was
don't see a lot of people
them
throwing them
flat.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back in the footage of that whole round, and
she was throwing it all the time.
I was just shocked. Just completely shocked that she was throwing that. And she threw it twice on 18.
Yep. I think that goes to show the level of distance, the level of strength, the level of commitment to disc golf being a sport that you want to grow in and compete in for years and years to come. Is distance is going to get longer and longer. You've heard Holly Finley talk about it. She spent her whole off season trying to gain distance. And I mean, it's something you need. A player that definitely has distance, picked up a good amount of eagles, another top 10 finish, Kat Mersch. I mean, started off the final round with a good amount of bogeys, but she cleaned it up throughout. I mean, pretty consistent play, finishes tied for 8th. It's another top 10 finish. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what she can do the rest of the year.
Yeah.
A player that I'm kind of surprised to not see, I mean, you have the new bag, is Kona. She, I mean, was trying to defend her title in Waco, and then here, she usually plays pretty well in Texas, but was just, I mean, you look at the final round here.
I mean, she was clean until, I mean,
what is that, hole 15?
Hole 15. She took a 7.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think it's just getting into a routine. She's somewhere new. She's got different things going through her head, and just being able to mental check and be like, look, hey, I know I got this new stuff, but I'm still me. And, I mean, she was changing up her putting. She's always, I mean, she had just changed her putting last year.
Yeah, and you added a new bag.
And then you added a new bag. So that's probably throwing some wrenches into her plan. But I'm sure she's going to come out and fire away at these next couple events.
Yep. And Owen Scoggins, always a joy to watch.
Hilarious.
And just have
so fun.
Just so freaking funny. And I mean, being able to be tied for 5th. Missy Gannon, another player, one to watch coming up in the field this year.
It is. And I mean, it was a great tournament. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was great to see. I
like
lot
the
of fun.
changes.
Yeah.
I like that it was a course that people didn't know.
Yep.
There was inconsistencies. There was nervousness, which you usually don't see. You got players that have played the same course for 10 years.
And they had to practice a couple of days just to figure out, hey, what are we going to do just to learn it. So it was awesome to see.
Yeah, well, that wraps it up here for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, our third stop of it at the Texas State Championships. Ricky and Paige taking it down. Again, an amazing just change of scenery to see a new course, to see the tour change. But next up, we have the Champions Cup, April 13th through 17th. So a little bit of break here. Let the players travel across, and maybe just have a little bit of a breath.
There's a couple of Silver Series, a couple of smaller tournaments that they're probably going to play. Just keep your body warm and that motion going through. But I mean, we're playing one course.
Yep, W.R. Jackson in Appling, Georgia.
Which is a fantastic course.
Yes, at the International Disc Golf Center, just near about 30, 40 minutes away from Augusta?
Maybe less.
Maybe a little bit less, which obviously Augusta being the Masters, home of the Hall of Fame Classic that used to be a part of the tour, a place. I mean, this is a wooded course.
It's going to be interesting to see because I don't think a lot of these pros have been there in some time.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It hasn't been on the tour. So it used to be right after United States Championships.
Yes.
They changed this course in a huge way. On a lot of the different holes became longer, became a little bit more technical. And now, I mean, there's 3 courses on the property, only playing Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Something I'm looking forward to. I know you're looking forward to. This is our home tournament, guys.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours away.
We're born and raised here in the great state of Georgia, and we're going to be there. We're going to be camping on top of Hayden's 4Runner, which is going to be sweet. For the 4Runner fanatics out there, what's our setup?
It's just a rooftop tent and then, some Camp Chef stuff and cooking in the back of the 4Runner. I mean, sleeping on top of the car, very comfy.
We have a mattress,
yeah,
obviously.
There's a mattress inside of it, yes.
Inside the tent? Like it's built into it?
Yes.
I didn't know this. This is incredible.
Really nice. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And we'll be right on the course, camping at the course, the park there.
Yeah, Wildwood, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be fun. So.
Yeah, I think biggest thing I'm excited for. We did this, Zach and I, last week. Unfortunately, not able to be here, but now you're back.
I had no voice.
Yeah, now he has a voice. Absolutely beautiful as always. But we talked about this last week. Give me some people that are ones to watch heading into this. I'll give you a second to think as I'm springing this on you. I think we're going to see, we've heard it many, many times. We've talked about the press conferences. I was able to be a part of the press conference in Vegas and get to see it myself firsthand, but we've been listening to them. The Finnish players, the Estonian players, the players from Europe are excited and looking forward to Champions Cup.
Really?
Reason being, it's the woods, baby.
That's true.
It is true wooded golf.
There's
no but there.
Never mind. Never mind.
You got
different course.
Nicolas Antala. You got Väinö Mäkelä. You got Lauri Lehtinen, Evelina Salonen, Henna Blomros.
Yeah.
I believe, I might be wrong, if Heidi Laine is coming to this one. I don't think so. I think she's coming later in the season.
I think you said she was coming later, but we could be wrong.
I don't know. I hope she does. But Heidi Laine, if you don't know, Dynamic Disc sponsored player out of Finland.
I mean, agree with your whole statement there because they love the woods and they love shaping. Everything
That's
about
the style of disc golf
they love
they
over
excel
there.
at.
And I don't know. There's a couple people in mind that I think for men's that are probably going to be still in that top 5 up there. I think Paul is going to take this one down.
Yeah, he's won the Hall of Fame Classic many times in the past.
And he is very good in this area. Mm-hmm. And he's consistent. And we'll see if he's able to jump back from what he had, these woes that he had here at Texas Championship.
Yeah, all in all, absolutely stoked to be able to attend that. Going to be doing commentary with Gatekeeper Media. And, being able to do some player interviews, talk to some players. Excited to meet some of you guys. If you're out there, you see us out there, this is what we look like if you're watching on YouTube.
What's up.
Yeah, say what's up. Follow us over on Parked Podcast. We have some stickers. Going to get some merch and some things maybe in the future as we grow this thing and enjoy it. But yeah, man, looking forward to the Champions Cup, April 13th through 17th. That will be the next time you hear from us, next time you see us. And man, you got any last things as we wrap up here?
No, it was a fun tournament to watch, and I had a blast.
Me as well. Be sure to head over to Gatekeeper Media. You're already here on YouTube. If you're over on Spotify or on Apple, be sure to leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how we could be doing better. Thank you for being here at the beginning of this thing. We're going to have the tech, the look, the sound, everything
coming soon.
Is keep growing with us. This is going to get better behind us if you're watching on YouTube. We're going to have some awesome stuff in the future. Great content on the way. But be sure to follow me at Mitchie_P5. Hayden over on Instagram at HaydenRicard23.
_23.
We love the underscores. But follow us over at Parked Podcast and, of course, at Gatekeeper Media. My name is Mitch Phillips.
And I'm Hayden Ricard.
And we'll see you for the Champions Cup in Appling, Georgia, the 4th stop on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Peace.